Hello and welcome to another review by DWC, and this time we're off to Biggin Hill on our Spitfire 90 series, and we're going to cover MJ627 marked up as 9GQ, the serial being G-BMSB, and of course operated by the Biggin Hill Heritage Hangar, friends of the page including both Matt and of course Alex Monks as well, who work on this beautiful aircraft out of Kent. Let's get into it and talk a little bit about the history of the aircraft. So as always, standard release box comes off. Like the other Mark 9 or TR9s, is a non-certified one in terms of numbers, and this is to keep producing them as long as they're doing passenger flights. And of course, standard clamshell as every other release, which that sometimes comes off nice and easy, and other times, like now, does not want to budge for me. But there we go. Finally does come off as the stand goes flying, and as always, undercarriage down there, and stand and Spitfire. So let's get into her and have a look. So here is MJ out of the box. Let's zoom in a bit. Again, one bit of warning for all concerned: propeller is very stiff on this, very stiff, which is good from a droop point of view, but not from a spinning point of view. Very little dihedral there. Look how flat that is. That's like the old Mark 9. It's a bit disappointing in all honesty. For a brand new mould, that should be sharper. But that's something I think they need to work on and feed back, because the standard Mark 9 is stunning in terms of the dihedral. Again, overall finish, really, really good. D-Day markings, lovely and crisp. And of course, this is the full D-Day markings. So Gary, obviously one of the admins on the page, did make this before this was actually released. And of course has recently done the American style Spitfire as well. Eileen, I believe it's called, and it looks fantastic. And we will do a video, I'll do a video and a talk over video of all his code frees together at some point once I completed this. So we've got a full collection of the TR9s. But overall finish is really good. One thing I will do is compare two greys. So let's compare the grey of the one at Duxford. You can see, for me, that's a bluer grey. It feels like a much darker grey. Maybe the D-Day markings are making it slightly off, but it's certainly a much more bluer grey in comparison. This one for me looks right compared to the rest of the other one, and I would say the Duxford one's slightly off. But look, I'm just being nitpicky. I think the overall finish is really good. Of course, no aerial, because the aerial was underneath the aircraft on the real thing. And of course, this representing a Canadian Squadron as well, with a Canadian motive on the side. Really, really nice. And underneath, of course, there's the D-Day stripes looking gloriously neat, and the pitot tube there as well on the left wing. So, really, really nice. Let's get her on her undercarriage and have a look how she looks like that. And here she's on her undercarriage. And of course, Biggin Hill were the forerunners of this mould of aircraft in terms of getting it done and working alongside Corgi and getting the aircraft into production as such. So they originally commissioned the Royal Australian Air Force sharp-mouthed one first to see how it could be sold, and it sold really well. And the commentary I had was the TR9 before these three releases has sold more than the other first two releases together, which is astonishing, really. Considering it is a little bit of an ugly duckling for the Spitfire purists, but it's a Spitfire regardless. No, beggars can't be choosers, certainly in my case. If this come over, I'm still going to be hairs on the back of the neck, standing there watching it with absolute awe. So anyhow, a little bit about the Mark 9. The TR9 obviously was the baby of the 9, let us say, with the first one being a Mark 8 that was converted, which is MT818, which Biggin Hill actually operate as one of their free aircraft. And of course, it was made into a two-seater, and then after the war sold on to the Irish Air Corps, who operated it, as did the Dutch as well. The Russians had TR9s, but in a very separate form and much more cruder design. There's probably literally just a chunk of the fuselage cut out with people sitting in it. But this, of course, was originally a Mark 9C, entering RAF service with 441 Royal Canadian Air Force Squadron in 1944. She does have a combat victory to her name. She is a proper warbird by name, having claimed her ME-109 or BF-109 over Arnhem just 2 days after making her combat debut, which would then spend much of her service life performing ground attack missions, something you don't really hear of the Spitfire, and of course escorting bombers. And of course, it's currently part of the Biggin Hill Heritage Hangar fleet, and is a real star of the show for many flying. And of course, I think she's been out today as well, so she's certainly been busy over the weekend. I was watching her go out over Kent over the weekend on flight radar as well, and has been known to frequent over the Essex countryside on her way to Southend as a free ship every now and then. So please, Alex, if you feel like doing that, please bring her back over. It'd be lovely to see her over the skies of Corringham. So there you go, a little bit of a quick review on the Biggin Hill Heritage Hangars Spitfire 9. We're on to the Goodwood one next from Spitfires.com in the Battle of Britain scheme, which I'll get to in a minute, and then do a group shot of all 3 of these ones I've got out together before getting to the Australian one at some point. Hope you enjoyed the review. Thanks for watching and tuning into the Spitfire 90 series. As ever, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. All the love is most appreciated on the page. And I'll speak to you all soon.